I'm as happy as a burnt out millennial in a video game store right now. Maybe a little bit happier. This is my view right now. And I'm about to eat lunch. Give me nuts. Give me nuts. Give me more nuts in my mouth. I think our country's attitude towards recreational drugs has gone maybe a little too far. You know, I don't really believe in the war on drugs. I don't think people should be given like extreme prison sentences for getting addicted to a drug or something. I think there's this idea that's so prevalent that it's like totally okay to just do drugs all the time. Be it alcohol, weed, and even doing like party drugs at every weekend when you go to a festival every summer. I don't necessarily call like MDMA or mushrooms or acid. I don't like calling them hard drugs. They're harder drugs than like weed or alcohol. But like, there's just like this kind of blind spot to actually the harm that that really does, especially when you do it even semi-regularly. Like even if you're only doing it once a month, I think that you're rewiring your brain with psychedelics or any kind of psychotropic substance, and you're not allowing your brain to kind of return to its basal state. And then when you abuse these drugs for so long, say years, say you go on like a 5-year thing where you're doing it 10, 12 times a year, it's going to take a long time for your brain to kind of return to a normal function. You know, I don't think my anxiety was nearly as bad before I started doing party drugs. I don't think my memory was as bad before I started doing psychedelics. Actually, it was mostly weed and alcohol that I think my memory kind of got fucked from. But I think psychedelics played a role. I think there's a lot you can learn using them, but I also think there's a lot that will come with it that you're gonna have to climb out of. You know, when you're digging for gold and, you know, that first shovel, you find a big chunk of gold and you're like, damn, I should look for more. And it gets rarer and rarer the further down you go each time you use, and you get to a point you're not finding gold anymore, you're just finding stones. And then when you finally realize, oh, there's no more down here, you look up and you've got a long way to climb to get back up. I hope this newer generation will see it differently. Maybe they can find ways to use certain substances like LSD and psilocybin and other psychedelics that are very therapeutic and find ways to just see it as that. You know, it's a therapy and you don't need to do all the time. You may only need to do it once or twice. And I really hope we outgrow alcohol. I kind of hope we outgrow weed. I don't think weed is all it's cracked up to be. Now that it's so corporate too, it just doesn't feel the same that it did when I was, 19. And that's probably because my brain's different. I think my brain has been very molded over the last decade. Almost 15 years that I was smoking weed relatively regularly. I've never taken more than like a month break. But I think it's time for me to be sober. Like full sober. We're working on it. Alcohol has not been that hard lately. I'm down to maybe 6 beers a week on average. There's some weeks I don't drink very much at all. Other weeks when I come out camping, I end up having like 6 to 12 beers over the course of like 4 days. But I mean, we'll give it up too. All right. We should probably get going. I've yapped on enough. Appreciate you guys. That's just the world giving me a little